Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Beyond Seven Figures podcast. So, I'm going to paint a scene for you here for a minute. I want you to imagine sitting in a room with a group of the top performing 7, 8, 9 figure CEOs from around the world. In this group, as I look around, I have this box in front of them. And not knowing and being new to this group, I wasn't really sure what everybody is doing. And as I open this up, they are so excited. It's like Christmas morning. And they open this box up from a supplement company called Nootopia. And it was a whole bunch of different supplements, all designed to help them create a mental edge, as well as to relax, especially in the evening, and a whole bunch of things in between. Everybody was there in that room looking for an edge. And they know that as executives, we are in essence intellectual athletes. And just like an Olympian, every little 1% makes a big difference when you're at that level. And so if you can get your mind in order, that makes a big difference. It helps in your ability to make decisions quickly and make better decisions. And so in seeking out the creator of this, I don't even want to call it a potion, but we'll call it nootropics, potion, whatever that is, I came across Matt Gallant. Now, Matt actually, not only is he the CEO of Nootopia, he's also the CEO and co-founder of Bioptimizers. He's been a strength and conditioning coach for multiple athletes, self-defense instructor, 15 years formulating supplements, 13 profitable companies, yada, yada, yada. Awesome, awesome dude. Matt, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, man. I love talking to entrepreneurs. I really feel that we're the people that make the world a better place. So anytime I can help people get better at this, it's a good day. So happy to be here.
Entrepreneurs and CEOs, there's a different demand on us than for most people. And not to say that our demand is better or worse or anything else. It's, all it is just different. So talk to me about those unique demands and how all of that sort of brought you to where you are today, whether it's through Nootopia or Bioptimizers.
Love that question. It is unique. The number of decisions we need to make, the consequences of those decisions is very different than anybody who's employed, right? First of all, I think there's a really key concept, which a lot of people don't realize, which is that your 100% is always changing. So let's just go to like the best case scenario. You've been on vacation, you've rested, you've slept well, life is awesome. You come back from vacation completely refreshed and rebooted. Let's say that is your true 100%, right? Like you're at your absolute best. What happens throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the quarter, throughout the year is that if people get fatigued, and decision fatigue is a very real thing throughout the day, again, maybe you're grinding throughout the week, you're grinding throughout the quarter, maybe you get a really intense month. All of those things will decrease your potential. So it's not uncommon, and I used to really try to track that internally, that by the end of a quarter, I felt like I was at 50% of my 100%. And one of my objectives is, well, what can I do to get that performance curve as high as possible throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the quarter? And that's been an obsession of mine for a very long time. And we can talk about all the things that we can do to maximize that performance curve. One of them obviously is great sleep. I think that a great day really starts the night before. Sleep is foundational, both from a body perspective and a brain perspective. If you can get enough deep sleep, stage 4 deep sleep, a lot of hormonal magic happens, a lot of rejuvenation, recovery.
I'm glad you said that. It's funny. I never put value on sleep until later. I found out that my organs were shutting down and I was dying from a stress-related condition. But what that does for the brain and the power of the sleep, and the number of CEOs that I talk to that actually, out of all the things that they do, they'll sacrifice sleep. I've realized over the years that that is the one thing that you don't want to compromise on, is sleep.
1,000%. It's about a 10 IQ point swing. So that's one sigma. Again, back to that 100% framework. Losing 10 IQ points is brutal. That's the difference between a world-class decision and maybe a good decision. And if we're not getting enough sleep, our mood's compromised, our ability to connect with people is compromised, our patience is compromised. All of these things will make us a worse leader, a worse decision maker. Our performance curve is going to drop a lot earlier in the day. And of course, when we're younger, we can survive or function better on less sleep as we get older and older. Even starting in our mid 30s, we need more sleep. And it's harder and harder to get good quality sleep as we get older. So we need to spend more time, more energy, more money. And I've spent about 45 grand hyper optimizing my sleep setup. So spent a lot of money on supplements, and you mentioned Bioptimizers and Nootopia. So we just released our sleep formula, which I've been working on for many years. And then prior to that, our magnesium breakthrough, that's been our best selling formula since it's come out, and has been transformational for a lot of people for better sleep. So 2 capsules of magnesium breakthrough an hour before bed is a game changer. And then sleep breakthrough just came out. Again, same thing, take that about an hour before bed and you're going to improve your REM, fall asleep faster, and wake up feeling more refreshed, which has always been a struggle for me for a lot of reasons. But yeah, it's a game changer.
Will you stay asleep longer? Because many people, including myself, it's when I wake up that it's not that I couldn't fall back asleep, but it's the moment my mind starts working that it wakes me up, and then I can't sleep because then I'm thinking about everything that's going on and boom, boom, boom. And then it's like, I need a notebook. I need to wake up. So will it help you stay asleep longer?
Yeah. So that what you just described is like hyperactive beta brainwave activity, which is also a key component of insomnia. So when they do brain scans on insomniacs, they find that they have hyperactive beta brainwave activity. Beta brainwaves are kind of that's where we're at right now. It's great for focus and attention and problem solving and thinking about things. But for sleep, we want to slow your brain waves down to alpha, ideally before bed. And then you're going to go to theta, which is when you start dreaming and you're aware of it. And then delta is the deep sleep. There's a couple of molecules that will increase alpha brain waves and thus reduce beta brain waves. One's L-theanine. The other one's pharma-GABA, which we've both included in sleep breakthrough. So that will help dramatically in terms of just quieting the monkey brain and the hamster wheel. And I just saw some great research literally last week that just came out on if you don't take breaks between meetings, and they did brain scans. And what happens is there's this accumulation of beta brain waves throughout the day that kind of fries your brain. And I've been there. I mean, and it's not a pleasant experience. So yeah, you're pretty cooked, and I felt it. And then my goal now is to try to take a little more breaks throughout the day. So just finding ways to take breaks throughout the day, and ideally going outside and not being on your phone and doing exercise is really transformational for your performance. You mentioned early on that for intellectual athletes, that is the best analogy, in my opinion, for entrepreneurs. And I've worked with pro athletes, and taking breaks is a key part of it. For example, you don't squat nonstop for 45 minutes, right? You do a set, take a break, take a set, and take a break. You take breaks throughout the week. And then there's even macro breaks throughout the year. And that's a great structure or framework that I think as entrepreneurs, we can all use, because a lot of us just love to keep going. But again, that performance curve drops a lot more compared to just taking these little micro breaks throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year.
As you said, sleep is the most important, bar none. And I totally get that. But now our waking hours, if we look at the traditional approach is wake up in the morning, they flip open a light, pour themselves a cup of coffee as the first thing, then finish a cup of coffee, probably grab one out the door, finish another cup of coffee, get to the office, and they're caffeine addiction. So that's one. Then sort of I look at the next level as they go, okay, I'm going to go caffeine, but oh, wait a minute. I heard of these nootropics. I'm going to take advantage of nootropics. So I'm going to take caffeine, and then sort of like the original stack, the caffeine, L-theanine sort of combo. And that's usually when I talked with different CEOs, that's what they do. It's either caffeine or caffeine, L-theanine. That's about where they cap out. Talk to me about the pluses and the minuses, and then what they should be doing.
Yeah, so let's talk about this nootropics. First, just a quick primer. Nootropics are brain-enhancing molecules. And we say brain-enhancing, there's a lot of ways to enhance the brain. Caffeine is a nootropic, and it is effective short-term. The problem is your body downregulates very quickly, and it doesn't work for very long. Like in a perfect world, caffeine could be used like twice a week or 3 times a week, and the effectiveness would be a lot longer or much stronger than using it every day. But people enjoy coffee. I enjoy coffee. It tastes great. It's kind of a ritual, right? But as a nootropic, it's okay. And what it does, it helps basically remove adenosine from your brain, and you're not aware how tired you are. It basically is what coffee does. Okay. It removes the awareness of tiredness, and you're basically more wakeful. Obviously increases adrenaline a little bit and cortisol as well, which in the right dosage is a good thing. And that's a really important principle. And that's why we're like, Bioptimizer is all about biological optimization. And biological optimization means that you're getting the optimal dose of whatever molecule you want in your brain and your body. And that's very, very true for nootropics. I'm from the world of bodybuilding, and I'm from the world of maximization, which meant like you just want as much as possible of everything. And I've realized over time that that's not the best strategy. Like optimal is more, not more is more. So with nootropics, there's a lot of things we can do. One of them is to target different neurochemicals. And we can take precursors, which are like building blocks, and add cofactors that will convert these precursors into the target molecules. For an example, choline, acetylcholine, choline is really the molecule of focus. So like when people are struggling to pay attention, almost always they're choline deficient. Now you can eat eggs. Eggs is a great source of choline. And like if people are eating eggs on a regular basis, they're probably fine. But the thing that happens is if you're an entrepreneur and you're really using your brain and you're pushing it hard, you're going to burn your choline more. So you need to replenish and optimize your dose based on how active your brain is. Like if you're just doing some simple task and you're not pushing your brain that much, you might not need as much. But for those of us that are working 8, 12, 14 hours a day, doing hard things, we're going to scorch the choline. Like there's no doubt about that. So making sure you got enough choline is a really important thing. Then there's other transmitters like serotonin, which is really like a molecule of stability. If you have enough serotonin, you just feel stable. A big one is GABA for certain people. Now, GABA, you talked about it at the end of the day, chilling out. GABA is the molecule of chill. So making sure that you're shifting your nervous system and back to kind of the perfect day. Perfect days, you start and maybe the first 30 minutes, you're not on your phone and you want to be in an alpha state. Play with your kids, play with your dog, go outside, go in nature. And it kind of sets the tone for your entire day. And by the way, biggest bang for the buck in terms of time is getting sun first thing in the morning. That increases serotonin and dopamine, which we'll get into dopamine in a minute. But the bang for the buck of literally going outside, no sunglasses, no windows, getting sunlight on your skin, especially in your eyes, and moving. And we can talk about movement because micro movement throughout the day is another game changer, which I've incorporated the last year. It's been amazing. But back to sunlight. And again, that increases serotonin and dopamine throughout the entire day. So incredible bang for the buck. You only need like 10, 15 minutes. And again, you'll be more energized and you'll feel better and your health will be improved as well. So anyway, the point is that serotonin is key, but let's talk about the big one. And almost everybody listening to this podcast right now has abnormal amounts of it, which is dopamine. And if you look at genetics of entrepreneurs, we have genetic variants that allow us to have and create and activate and basically have super levels of dopamine. And dopamine is the molecule of drive. It's the molecule of motivation. It's the molecule of anticipation. From a neurochemical perspective, that's what makes us different than normies and normal people. We're just able to constantly drive ourselves to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that's why it's the molecule of anticipation. Now with dopamine, there's a lot of psychological strategies we can use, which again, almost everybody listening to this podcast are already using. As soon as you determine that something's important, you create a goal. What happens is as you do things that move you closer to that goal, and whether it's the micro wins along the way, your brain is going to be creating dopamine. So realizing that, I think, can really help entrepreneurs avoid depression, because a lot of people, I'm sure you've met a lot of them, they built their company, they might have sold it, and they thought that they'd be nirvana. And instead they're feeling almost depressed because their dopamine has crashed. and it takes them a year or two to figure out that they actually need another goal. It really is, from a neurochemical perspective, it is the journey.
I want to rewind for a minute here. I'm interested to hear about your day. Talk to me about, when do you wake up in the morning? What does your routines look like? And walk me through all the way until you go to bed at night.
Let's just call this the perfect day, which is maybe 50, 60% of the time. And the other 56%, it's variants of this. I typically wake up at 8, play with my daughter for 10, 15 minutes, which, by the way, increases oxytocin, which is just one of the most powerful health molecules you can generate. Again, it's a free thing, whether you hug your wife, play with your pets, play with your kids. It's a great way to just change your perception of life. So oxytocin is a really important molecule in the body. So do that, go outside. Again, I typically walk for 10, 15 minutes, do a set of stairs. And I'm not trying to work out. That's a really important point. Like, that's not my workout. I'm getting a bit of a sweat, but my workout's later in the day. Then I look at my calendar, and then I determine what's going to be my nootropic stack for the day. So for an example, like, I woke up this morning, I saw that we had a podcast, and then I've also got 2 different live events tonight. I took an Apex. So like, Apex is one of the Nootopia stacks. It's probably the longest lasting formula we have. So I really wanted something that's going to power me throughout the day. I'm drinking some nectar. I'm drinking some Collagenous. So I do have different stacks for different things. And when I'm speaking, again, I just have a stack for that. So I take my stack and I try to time it so that it's peaking during those events. And that's a whole other strategy. Like, in a perfect world, you're timing your nootropics so that the peak of it is at the moment you need it. And then let's talk about micro movement. So a few years ago, there was a lot of hype around sitting is the new smoking. I dived into the literature. I read the literature, and it's not quite accurate. It's not moving is the new smoking. And what happens is that if you don't move, and it doesn't matter if you're standing, sitting, lying down, the principle is the same. After 30 minutes, your health is starting to degrade. Like, your biomarkers is starting to go down. At the 2-hour mark, it's significant. And most of us have experienced that. Like, we sit on the couch, we actually feel good because we're relaxing, turn on the TV. And after like 3 hours watching TV, you don't really feel good anymore. Like, you're not feeling optimized. And that is because, again, you're literally, your biomarkers are going down. Your health is kind of degrading on a short-term scale. The answer is very simple, is that every 30 to 60 minutes, we just need to move. And movement doesn't need to be, again, we're not trying to do a workout. It can be walking. I'm at a stand-up desk. So throughout the day, I'll go from sitting to standing. Yeah. I'll go do literally a set of weights upstairs, in the sun. I've got a rebounder. So usually 3 or 4 times throughout the day, I'll just do these micro bouts of exercise. And it's just been transformational. Like, my energy, back to kind of what we were talking about at the beginning, my performance curve, it just extends way longer than if I don't do that. Like, if I just sit down and work and try to grind, compared to these just micro movements. And metabolically, the delta on the calorie side is massive compared to just doing a standard 30, 45, 60-minute workout, which then I'll do. Typically, I'll train at 4, come back, have dinner, and then I'll typically watch TV and work, just answer Slack and emails and try to chill out. And then I'll take my sleep stack about an hour before bed, typically at 11, and go sleep at 12 and have a great night's sleep. So that's my day.
Let's take just a few minutes, because I know we're pushing up against the clock, where you can tell us just a little bit more about Bioptimizers and Nootopia. And I believe right before this episode, somebody from your team said, hey, I think Charles 10 is the promo code. They said, look, why don't we give your listeners a discount as a benefit for being here? So I want to say it's Charles 10. Tell us a little bit about these companies here.
Yeah, so Bioptimizer is like the predecessor, started in 2004. At that time, we were really focused on natural bodybuilders. And then in 2014, we rebranded to Bioptimizers. And our first objective was to truly create the most complete suite of digestive solutions on the market. I think we've accomplished that. Every product we do is best in class. And that's not just me saying that. We have a lab in Bosnia with 16 brilliant biologists, chemists, scientists. people with PhDs in bacteria doing hundreds of experiments a year to optimize these formulas. So in terms of digestive optimization, we have different products for different types of diets, from ketogenic diets to plant-based diets to just high protein diets. And taking digestive enzymes, it'll level you up, because again, in terms of if you eat a normal meal and you feel bloated and you have gas and kind of that energy lull, you can completely eliminate that and get more energy from your food, because the digestive enzymes will break them down and basically give you more energy, more amino acids. So that's one thing we do. Our best-selling product is Magnesium Breakthrough. It's 7 different magnesiums with cofactors. If you've ever used a magnesium before, try ours. It hits different. It feels different. So yeah, take 2 of those before bed. And as an entrepreneur, a lot of times we get overwhelmed with stress. So taking 1 capsule, like if you're in a really stressful period, taking 1 capsule can really smooth out the edges. But by taking things like magnesium, that improves our resilience. Like the stress, we can lower cortisol and basically handle more. And that's really important. That's another reason why sleep's so critical. And then about 2 years ago, we launched Nootopia. So Nootopia is customized, personalized nootropics. It's really a system. We have 12 different products. When you order your first kit, you'll get 9 of them. And we guide you through your first 30 days. And then we can customize them further and adjust them based on people's feedback. And that's just been transformational for me and any other high performer in terms of, again, truly maximizing their output, optimizing their neurochemistry, and transforming their performance. So yeah, that's the gist of it.
That's coupon code Charles10, 10% off. Go ahead and check that out. This is the Beyond 7 Figures podcast. So for our 7, 8-figure CEOs that are listening, saying, what is the best tip you have for taking a company beyond 7, 8 figures? What would the best tip be?
So I was stuck at like 6 to 8 million for a long time. And what I didn't realize was, by not having everything in the same industry, I was missing on the power of compounding. One of the best decisions I've ever made was like 3 years ago. I'm like, I'm done. My purpose is clear. I'm here to take people from sick to superhuman. And the only thing I'm doing is the bioverse, which is Bioptimizers, Nootopia. We'll create more companies. It's all going to be within this ecosystem. So that way I can parlay my advantages. We've exploded. We were Inc. 245 this year. We'll probably be at 9 figures in 2024. That's the track that we're on. And again, that's just a flag along the way. I think we can get to $1 billion probably by 2028, 2029. So yeah, I think that hyper focus in one market, the thing that I didn't realize earlier is you can't beat the power of synergy. And that's true biologically as well. We see that as sort of a big way that we design our products and our stacks and our combinations. Like when you're in one market and you just keep going deeper and deeper, that's how you outcompete everybody. Like mastery is in the depth. The only way you can get to that level is just to stay hyper-focused and just keep going deeper and deeper. So that's what we've done. And we're just continuing to get deeper with our team, with our R&D, with our product development. And it's just starting to create these exponential advantages that's very, very difficult for anybody to try to compete with. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things, but that's been the main one.
And obviously you have a lot of repeat business and so forth, which is great. What would you say is the most valuable marketing channel that you have?
Right now, and that's a relatively new thing, like Amazon's really exploded for us this year. Before it was like 7, 8% of our revenue. Now it's a lot higher. And then podcasts. So podcast advertising, which is good for you, has been one of our top channels for a long time. We started doing podcast advertising in 2017, and we've just been scaling it. So here's a good formula for people. One is go on the show as a guest, then run ads. You know, if you go first and you basically build a bond with the audience, the ads will be far more effective that way. Obviously, not every show is going to work. So you got to test. And then typically we'll do like 10 episodes, look at the return on ad spend. And if it works, we'll scale. If it doesn't work, we'll stop. But yeah, podcast is really, really good. It's a really good channel.
So Matt, I want to thank you very much for being a guest here on the Beyond 7 Figures podcast. Again, that wraps up the Beyond 7 Figures podcast. Matt Gallant is the CEO of Nootopia as well as Bioptimizers. Again, they gave Coupon code Charles10 if you guys want 10% off, you want to experiment there. We are those intellectual athletes. So every advantage that you get, every 1% improvement that you can make gives you a substantial advantage over other people. Look, getting the first 80% is easy, actually. Getting to 96% of the way becomes a little bit difficult, but the difference between the top performers and those who are just really, really good often comes down to the 4% at the end. And that's where you really want to take every advantage possible. And leveraging your mental and your physical health is a massive component to that. For more tips, strategies, and insights on taking your company beyond 7 figures, check us out over at predictableprofits.com. Again, that's predictableprofits.com. This is Charles Cadet with my friend Matt Gallant, and I will see you in another episode.